When The Acolyte debuted on Disney Plus last month, it became crystal clear to Star Wars fans that all the things they were worried about, the fears they had about this new series, that it was actually way worse than they could have possibly thought. A series led by Leslie Headland, Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, who was very upfront about the things she wanted to insert into Star Wars. The cast and crew, nearly all of them, instead of talking about actual Star Wars, all they could talk about was the diversity and the identity politics involved with the creation of this show. And now that we've seen it and all of its glory, it's safe to say that this is the biggest piece of shit that Star Wars has ever put out. And considering what we've got in the past few years, that is saying something. Nevertheless, the mainstream woke access media did their best to defend this series from the get-go, attacking Star Wars fans, saying that they are the problem. It couldn't possibly be that Lucasfilm made a bad product. It couldn't possibly be that the writing, the dialogue, the character development, that everything about this series is subpar. It couldn't possibly be that. It has to be the fans' problem. New Star Wars series The Acolyte review bombed by bigots and angry fans amid woke backlash. Like clockwork, annoying fans review bombed The Acolyte, even to the point where now Leslie Headland has spoken out about review bombing and blaming review bombing on why this series is getting bad feedback. The truth is, fans don't like the show. They're voicing their opinions. That's what happens when you put a product out there. But this article from Collider really caught a lot of people's attention because this just came out yesterday. Star Wars' biggest problem is the fans. Well, thank you, Collider. Yes, I'm sure the people that are paying to see a product, the people who want this thing to be good, that must be the biggest problem with Star Wars. Not the people at Lucasfilm who consistently over the last several years have continued to push out dog shit slop. That can't be the problem because we have to defend them. We have to keep our access. We have to keep getting our interviews. It's the fans' fault. Well, before we even get into the article, we can just say it didn't go over well for Collider. Clearly, Collider, for you, the biggest problem is the audience because they completely disagree with what you're saying. This post, it's been up for almost 24 hours now. 150 likes, 833 comments, and even more embarrassing, it should have been a worse ratio than that because as soon as it started happening, they went protected on their replies. Accounts Collider follows or mention can reply. That was the first thing they did. And then overnight, they turned the comments back on. Hopefully no one would notice. Well, they did, and it got fucking destroyed. And there's a good reason for that because look at this article. The internet has never made it easy for people to speak their minds. We've made it 1 second into the article, 1 sentence, and it's already retarded. The internet gave everybody a very easy outlet to speak their mind. Now, does that mean that there aren't other people on the internet who can speak their mind back to you, maybe agreeing with you, maybe disagreeing with you? No. But it certainly gives more people a voice. Are you fucking kidding me? Your problem is you want it to be a hug box. You only want one opinion, and that is the approved woke mainstream media opinion. That's the problem for people like you. Convenience of digital connection aside, there have always been online trolls and toxic comments ready to pounce on anyone who dares to bear their authentic self in public life. Now I'm convinced, I don't know the person who wrote this, it really doesn't matter. Now I'm convinced they're gay or trans or something. Like the idea to bear my authentic self and not be criticized. That's what it sounds like from that comment. And the newest round of controversies and unfounded criticisms directed at Star Wars projects demonstrates the beloved sci-fi franchise is no different. For decades, viewers have been relentlessly attacking Star Wars performers and creators. Really? Because what you're going to bring up, here's the things they're going to mention. They're going to mention Ahmed Best. Ahmed Best, was it the fans that attacked Ahmed Best? It's weird that you don't include that it was the media. Ahmed Best is on record saying he almost killed himself because the media attacks on him and his character. Weird how you always try to flip things around, isn't it? The vitriol of these persistent voices has subsequently spread throughout the internet, making it feel impossible to say anything positive about Star Wars without turning every discussion into a heated debate. You can go out and say anything you want. There might be people that disagree with you. Like, that's just a reality. The thing is, these people either are so fucking retarded that they can't understand how, 86% of people that tune into this thing might not like it, or they're really just lying through their teeth. It might be that they're so disconnected with reality that they can't fathom a series that puts everything in their woke wildest dreams, right? All these things. I've always wanted Star Wars to be like this, even though it never was. Maybe you can't understand that not everybody thinks like you, and that a lot of people who have been Star Wars fans probably for a lot longer than you maybe don't like the shit that's being pushed out for a multitude of reasons. But let's get back to it. Leslie Headland's groundbreaking series has been relentlessly review bombed, causing the Acolyte to possess a huge disparity between its positive critical reception and abysmal audience score, since the majority of these hate-filled criticisms are either overreactions to alleged continuity errors. No, there are absolutely continuity errors and problems within Star Wars lore for this series, or backlash aimed at attacking the show's long overdue inclusivity. The bad actors spreading them are clearly spinning controversy out of nothing, and this manufactured outrage can be directly traced back to the demographics of the original trilogy. This is where it gets good, because like everything we see from Disney Star Wars defenders, it all comes back to criticizing the original trilogy. This person will go on to suggest that because there were so many white people in the original Star Wars movies, that's why fans are so toxic today. There wasn't enough inclusivity. There weren't any gay stories on screen. And even this is just bullshit. Protagonists were almost always played up as ultra-masculine tough guys. Really? Is Luke Skywalker? Do you think that Luke Skywalker is really defined as a, quote, ultra-masculine tough guy? I would say no. I would say that's actually not the case at all, but weird how you view this through your own lens. Despite taking place in a galaxy far, far away from the filmmaking conventions of Earth, Star Wars' original trilogy features a mostly white cast, female characters with largely unrealized potential, and no LGBTQ+ storylines depicted on screen. What the fuck are you talking about? And this is what I mean. These activists, not only in the media, but the people that are now hired at Lucasfilm, like Leslie Headland, and like the group of writers she hired for this, some of whom had never seen Star Wars before. They were hired because of identity politics, and their goal is to change Star Wars into something else. They want to change Star Wars into a platform for their identity politics. This is what we've been saying for literally years now, and now you're just openly admitting that that's the case. Unfortunately, this mindset's reliance on the original trilogy's outdated aesthetics severely limits the understandings of what a Star Wars story can be. You know what the truth is? If you want to have a female lead series, if you want to have gay characters in your series, if you want a diverse cast, all of that will be accepted if you actually put out a good story. I'm going to put Andor out there, for instance, right? Andor, not female-led, but there's a couple female characters in there. There's even a gay relationship in there. Certainly a diverse group of people in the cast. That was received pretty well by fans. Now, it might not have been a smash hit, might not have drew the eyes that they had maybe hoped to, but in terms of the actual series, most people say that's the most competent thing in terms of a well-written series that Disney has done. It's not for everybody. Not everybody embraced it, but it's the most competent thing that they've done. Weird that that didn't get review bombed like the Acolyte's being review bombed, isn't it? It's almost like people have a problem with this series itself. And this next part is basically saying that the future of Star Wars should be focused on representation and inclusivity. No, it shouldn't. That doesn't mean that the rest of the series needs to just be white men. What that's saying is that's not what the focus should be, and that's part of the problem. When that is your focus going into a series about Star Wars, that is a problem. Because the focus should be telling an entertaining story, creating compelling characters that people actually give a fuck about. That should be the future of Star Wars. Not, is there a black person or a queer on screen, right? Like, isn't this just common fucking sense? But the idea that you should double, triple, quadruple down on the very same things that have led you to this place is a problem. When you start focusing on this first, everything else falls by the wayside. Like I said, they didn't get the best people for the job to write this series. They hired people because of their gender, their race, and their sexuality, because they wanted representation and inclusivity. Well, look how that worked for you. It didn't work out very well. Across the board, the series is being criticized, not just for the skin color or sexuality of the people on screen. The vast majority of the criticism goes well beyond that. And for some reason, the Access Media, Lucasfilm, everybody involved refused to actually admit that. The woke Access Media is only going to point the finger at fans. They will not criticize Lucasfilm. They will not criticize Disney because they want to keep their access. And quite honestly, the activists who work there, this is what they want Star Wars to become. They want Star Wars to change inherently. Fuck the old fans. We don't need them. Let's make Star Wars into a platform for our activism. That's what's happening from the media. That's what's happening inside Lucasfilm. And that's why a lot of Star Wars fans hate what they're putting out. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.